This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
You are plugged in for the podcast, Wrestlers Society.
Faith is the place, and the sky's the limit.
Thanks for tuning in and getting ready to rumble with the podcast Wrestling Society. I'm your loving leader, benevolent host, Midwest Monster, and the big dog of this show, Troy Adams. And making his appearance at number 2, I'm going to dump him out early and disappoint the fans. He's the Daniel Bryan of my Roman Reigns. He is Delvin Cox. What up, Delvin?
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
It's good to have you back on the show, man. It's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
But You've been more of a co-host than my actual co-host as of late.
I noticed.
Yeah, things have just since late November, it's been tough to hammer some co-hosts down, man. Especially my normal co-host had a lot of family stuff going on, around the holidays. So it is what it is. Yep. And I appreciate you and Rob from Random Ramblings with Rob and everybody else that I've missed who has filled in, and of course myself, who has went solo a few times. Thank you all for jumping in and co-hosting with me. It's meant a lot to keep this show going, man. And last week, if any of you Delvin, I haven't asked you. Have you watched Wrestle Kingdom?
I tried to watch it. I even bought the New Japan app, but no, it's like you can't watch it on TV. You have to watch it on your phone or something like that. I'm not doing that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah, because I can't find the app in any major app service. Like PlayStation doesn't have it. Roku doesn't have it. If anybody out there is listening to this and they know where you can how you can watch New Japan on your TV without having to do some kind of crazy weird stuff, let me know, please. Jesus. Delvin_Cox, by the way, on Twitter.
Yes, Delvin_Cox. He is the host of the Delvin Cox Experience and one of the 3 horsemen, I guess, for the or horse people. I don't know. For the
No, this horseman. No, I'm not with that all non-binary crap. No, she is going to be a horseman today. That.
All right.
They wasn't the horse people. They were the horsemen.
All right. Well, the 3 horsemen of the PlayStation Experience. Go check that out. All things PlayStation. And write in and ask them how big a certain video game character's penis is, because they love those questions.
Yes, we do. At least I do.
Yeah, you get a kick out of it. For everybody, though, that didn't listen last week, it's a long show, way longer than I wanted it to go, but I got 2 Chains from the Big Gold Belt podcast. He was on last week, and we ran down Wrestle Kingdom 14. So if anybody wants a little rundown on New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's their biggest show of the year. First time they went 2 nights, and it was Jushin Thunder Liger's retirement. So lots of big stuff, and the first ever double champion was crowned in the main event of night 2. Tetsuya Naito defeated Kazuchika Okada to become the IWGP World's Heavyweight Champion and Intercontinental Champion all at once. So good stuff all around.
Versus Okada.
Yep. So what do you say? Do you want to delve into the show content here?
Let's go ahead and do it, brother.
All right. I had to throw that one in there. I've been waiting to use that one.
That's a good one.
All right. Royal Rumble 2015, I gave you the choice. I said, what do you want to cover? Which Royal Rumble? And you picked this piece of crap.
Yes, because it's delightful. The ending of this Royal Rumble is one of the most delightful things I've ever seen.
If by delightful you mean a disaster, then yes, you are correct.
It is so uncomfortable. It is delightfully funny.
I feel so bad for Roman Reigns. But we will get it.
And The Rock, for that matter.
Oh, God, yeah. The Rock had a look on his face like, God dang, what is happening to me?
who's at this time? This is like Rock, who's one of the biggest stars in the world at this time.
Good Lord. Well, this show took place Sunday, January 25th, 2015, at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The total attendance was 17,164. The event received 145,000 buys, excluding WWE Network views, down from the previous year's 467,000 buys. I can only assume that's because more people were watching on the network in 2015 than in 2014.
Yes.
And this was, didn't the network launch right before WrestleMania 30, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so of course, the numbers would plummet and transfer over to the network. I mean, that's not really a big thing. It's an indicator of people porting over, but I mean, that's about it, in my opinion. There's so much to get into with this show. With the pre-show, it was the team of Cesaro and Tyson Kidd, if anybody remembers them, as a tag team, versus The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Big E. At 10 minutes, it went 10 minutes 55 seconds and got 2 3/4 stars from Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer. The match went like this: Kofi and Big E were in control for most of the match until Cesaro nailed a European uppercut on Kingston from the outside, and Kidd executed a fisherman's neckbreaker on Kofi for the win. So Cesaro and Tyson got the victory here. I had high hopes for that tag team until Tyson had his career ended by Samoa Joe.
Yeah. Tyson Kidd had a lot of potential.
Yeah, he did. It's unfortunate that he was on. Well, I don't know if it's unfortunate or not. I'm not trying to put down tag teams, but the only time he ever did anything was in a tag team.
Yeah.
The next match to open the show was the Ascension defeating the New Age Outlaws. That just doesn't sound real. But it went 5 minutes 26 seconds and got 1 1/4 star.
Too many stars.
It wasn't anything special. The Ascension had control for the majority of the match. However, Billy Gunn came back with a tilt-a-whirl slam and positioned Victor for the Fameasser. I refuse to call it the Famouser. Victor made a blind tag to Connor, and they hit the Fall of Man on Billy Gunn for the win.
Wow.
Billy Gunn, who is now in AEW, by the way, and Road Dogg, who is now fat.
Both of these things are absolutely true. The Ascension are not with WWE anymore, too, right?
Correct. The Ascension, who are now jobless.
Yes.
But we continue on with it. Oh, by the way, I want to say the reason that match was happening was the Ascension just came up from NXT, and they were, I don't know why they decided we're going to throw them in against all these other old tag teams and have them act like, well, we're better than all the famous tag teams of old. By the way, we're going to get punked out by all them teams, too.
Yes.
That was complete crap. But, hey, at least they got a win here that went absolutely nowhere. But this next match, the Usos, who were the WWE Tag Team Champions, were defending against Miz and Mizdow. I'll tell you what, man, that team was fun.
Yes, super fun.
That was the only time, I like Damian Sandow. I kind of liked his whole intellectual savior of the masses gimmick. That was fine. I always thought he was a good wrestler. I don't know. He got too big for his britches and thought he was going to go to Impact and, pardon the pun, but make an impact. And he didn't.
Yeah.
Now he's in NWA.
He has a lot of potential. It's just he hasn't seen it yet. He hasn't lived up to that name yet. And I feel like the Mizdow stuff was awesome because it was something that he was having fun with. But when he tries to be more of the serious character, it kind of just didn't work out. It kind of fizzled out like it did in Impact.
Right. Mizdow, for people that don't remember Damian Mizdow, his whole thing was he was the Miz's stunt double. He looked nothing like the Miz, but he dressed like the Miz. He acted like the Miz, and he literally did everything the Miz did, and he would stand on the apron doing the Miz's moves, move for move, blow for blow. Yes, taking phantom bumps. It was, I'm not a big fan of haha in wrestling, but that was some good stuff. And I liked it. And he got hugely over, and WWE kind of missed the boat. I don't get it. Like, why can't Vince see these sweet spots where it's like, oh, we got to strike while the iron's hot? He did that back in the Attitude Era when people were getting over. But now he's just like, well, you're not who I want to get over, so F you.
Well, I think a part of it is what people have been saying for the longest time, that he doesn't want people to get over. He wants the brand to get over.
Yeah.
I think the last person who truly got over was John Cena.
Yep. I don't know. Like Daniel Bryan got over on his own without the machine behind him. But it doesn't work very often, as we can see. Kofi got over because the people just loved him. And
it seems like everybody who really gets over now is because the people make them get over.
Yeah.
Like Roman Reigns had to get cancer for people to start not booing him at everything.
God, it's pathetic.
And it's sad to say that, but that's what happened. Like, he had to leave because he had cancer and come back for people like, all right, maybe we should not boo this guy as much as we used to.
Right. Yeah, I don't agree. I've always liked Roman Reigns, but I guess I'm in the minority.
I like him a lot.
Actually, I don't think I'm in the minority. Just people think it's cool to boo Roman nowadays. This match, though, during the match, The Miz refused to tag in Damien Mizdow, but Mizdow made a few saves. Miz hit skull-crushing finale on Jay for the near fall. Mizdow did the same thing to, it says Jay, but it might have been Jimmy. I don't remember. One of them. But earned a near fall again. The Usos eventually won the match with a Samoan splash on The Miz. The gimmick at the time, can you continue on with that, was Miz was getting tired of Mizdow doing the crazy crap on the apron and getting over and getting cheered and getting reactions, and The Miz was getting nothing. So he stopped tagging him in, he stopped giving him anything, and he got mad because he's like, well, I'm the star. So this, and Mizdow, not really being a babyface, I guess, was getting over as big babyface. It was a weird dynamic, even though they were heels.
Yes.
Wrestling wild, man.
By far. It always seems like what WWE wants to happen and what the fans want to happen is two different things.
That is true. Speaking of what WWE wanted as opposed to what we wanted, that I didn't realize until I rewatched this how tag team heavy the show was, but we get a women's tag team match of the Bella Twins. They defeated Natalya and Paige in 8 minutes and 3 seconds. It got 1 star. Not really any notes from this because it was an unremarkable crud of a match. Nikki got the win with a forearm smash. Got the pin. So that was that. Anything to say about that one?
No, not at all. I think 2015 is kind of weird because it's kind of like we're into the era where we're taking women wrestlers seriously, but we still kind of have the Bella Twins and stuff out there who are not necessarily good workers. At this time, they weren't good workers as they are when they, I guess, today. Yeah.
Well, I can say, like, it was still a weird transition period in 2015 because I was at TakeOver Brooklyn 1, and then the next night I was at SummerSlam 2015, and then I went to Raw and SmackDown the next 2 nights, and they had a multi-women match on Raw the next, after SummerSlam, and the crowd couldn't care less. They were doing the wave, they were chanting weird crap, saying boring. They didn't care at all.
Yeah, because like I said, this was the time where women's wrestling wasn't as important as it is today. Like, now, it's a completely different landscape in terms of women's wrestling. They're headlining pay-per-views. A lot of times, women's matches be the best match on the show. It's completely different. It's kind of weird watching from 2015, which was not that far ago, not that long ago, to now and how women's wrestling is being received.
Yeah. This was during the time of the reign of terror of Nikki Bella. I've never been a fan of hers. I mean, physically I see the appeal. Obviously, I'm not blind, but yeah. I don't get the appeal of her, like, in the ring. Whatever. But I guess the backstory of this was on the January 5th episode of Raw. Paige came out to help Natalya defeat Nikki Bella. On the January 6th episode of Main Event, Natalya came out to help Paige to defeat Nikki Bella. And on the January 12th episode of Raw, Brie Bella defeated Paige due to distraction by Tyson Kidd. On the January 15th episode of SmackDown, Natalya defeated Nikki via submission. On the January 19th episode of Raw, after Paige and Natalya both defeated Summer Rae and Alicia Fox, it was announced that the Bella Twins would face Paige and Natalya in a tag team match at Royal Rumble. Weird. Just a weird, like, I beat you, you beat me, we beat each other, let's have a match.
Bad booking. That's what it is.
It was boring booking, I'll say that. It's just like, blah. There's not really anything to it. But this next one, there is something to this. Brock Lesnar put his World's Heavyweight Championship, his WWE title. Oh my, how the more things change, the more they stay the same. But Brock Lesnar is putting the WWE title on the line in a triple threat against John Cena and Seth freaking Rollins. Brock won in 22 minutes, 42 seconds. It got, this one I was like, come on, Dave, just give it 5 stars. It got 4 3/4 stars. I don't know if it was that good.
I actually loved this match.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really entertaining. I will say, and especially if you're judging off of like how hot the crowd is for this stuff. I mean, this was big, but it was a lot of finishers when you look at it. Just like a typical Brock match.
I liked how desperate John Cena seemed in this match.
Right.
In terms of how he really wanted to beat Brock. Really wanted to kind of avenge his SummerSlam loss and the embarrassment that he basically received. And this was Seth Rollins kind of still coming into his own. People were kind of slowly getting behind Seth Rollins because kind of everybody knew what was going to eventually happen with Roman Reigns.
Right.
But they were kind of slowly but surely, maybe Seth is our guy, which is funny to say that now in hindsight because how things have changed now and how people look at Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Well, the way this built up was, and hold on for this ride, at SummerSlam 2014, it says Brock Lesnar defeated John Cena for the WWE title. Brock Lesnar wiped the floor with John Cena for the WWE title. He buried him unlike anybody has ever buried anybody in the history of wrestling. He just suplexed him for 16 minutes straight, hit an F5, and won. Cena would receive his rematch the following month at Night of Champions, which he would win by disqualification after Seth Rollins interfered and attempted to cash in his Money in the Bank contract. At the next event, Hell in a Cell, Cena defeated Authority member Randy Orton in a Hell in a Cell match in his 5,000th match against him to earn a future shot at Lesnar. The Authority, remember them, was then removed from power after losing the 5-on-5 Survivor Series elimination match at Survivor Series, with Cena being the only one who could bring them back if he chose to. I hated 2014 and 2015 so bad. Because for those of you that don't remember, like, this is the definition of having no stakes.
Yeah.
He beat them. They went away for, what, a month? And, yeah. Well, at TLC, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, Cena faced Rollins in a tables match, which he won to retain his number 1 contender status. Later in the event, it was announced that Cena could face Lesnar for the title at Royal Rumble. On the final Raw of 2014, Rollins attacked special guest host Edge and threatened to hit him with a curb stomp if Cena did not reinstate the Authority. Cena came out to save Edge, but reluctantly brought back the Authority after Rollins held Edge hostage.
Bad booking.
This was stupid. They got it. So they got a vacation. Cool. And then, like, Sting helped them for what? So he could get a WrestleMania match in which he got buried by Triple H?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's weird because out of all people for John Cena to help, why Edge? Like, they had a blood feud.
I guess it's well, I'm a good guy. I've got to help you. Good Lord. Anyway, after that, on the January 5th, 2015 episode of Raw, Rollins was added to the match by Triple H as a reward for bringing back the Authority, turning the match into a triple threat. That same episode, the members of Team Cena from Survivor Series, which were Dolph Ziggler, Ryback, and Eric Rowan, were fired by the Authority for helping Cena to remove them from power. The following week, Lesnar returned for the contract signing with Cena and Rollins. A brawl broke out between all three men that ended with Rollins performing a curb stomp, each on Cena and Lesnar. The final Raw before the Royal Rumble, Triple H forced John Cena to compete in a 3-on-1 handicap match against Rollins, Big Show, and Kane to not only secure his spot in the triple threat match, but also to win Ziggler, Ryback, and Rowan their jobs back. Again, I mean, you kind of knew it was going to happen. During the match, Sting, who previously assisted Team Cena at Survivor Series, caused a distraction which allowed Cena to roll up Rollins for the win, to keep his spot in the match and reinstate Ziggler, Ryback, and Rowan. Lesnar then came down to the ring and attacked Rollins before executing an F5 each on Kane and Big Show. Rollins then retreated to avoid further punishment. What a mess, man.
Yeah.
I just...
It led to a solid match, too. I will say that.
It did. I mean, I'm not saying all the matches in 2014, 2015 were crap, because they were not. But gosh, there was a lot of goofiness.
Yeah, a lot of weird booking.
Yeah. But before we dive into this last match and then the Royal Rumble match at hand, let's take a quick break here to tell everybody about some other great podcasts on the Big Heads Media Network. It's our one and only break of the show, ladies and gents. When we come back, we're wrapping it all up with Royal Rumble 2015. It's the triple threat for the WWE title and the 30-man Royal Rumble match.
Brian, what do I love?
Fantasy football.
I do love fantasy football, but what else do I love?
Making money?
I love winning money, but no. Well, that's not what I'm thinking of.
Ooh, I know. Sundays.
I love Sundays, and I'm not talking ice cream, ladies and gentlemen.
And if you love playing fantasy football, you need to check out the FTLS Fantasy Football Podcast with myself and Johnny Bats over here.
Find us on Apple Podcast or your preferred podcast app, and as always, check out all of our work at www.ftlsunday.com. Look forward to winning with you all year.
They don't do it
That's
like
good.
that. Okay, cool.
So who says what?
So I'm
We're
saying
a podcast. You say that?
So I'm saying 5. Beth.
4. 3.
2. 1. Hey there, I'm Dave.
I'm Beth. And I'm Veronica.
And we are the Happy Hour. We're a podcast dedicated to the most decorated NHL franchise of all time, the Montreal Canadiens.
A casual listen by Habs fans for Habs fans.
We have new episodes every week, so have a listen.
Bye.
Bye.
Do you love a good story? Her American Story is a podcast for anyone who loves a good story. First and second generation American women share their American experience. Sharing our stories helps us to relate to one another, build understanding, as well as provide representation for those that need it most. I grew up in a smaller American town and lacked representation in my community and simply in media at that time. I created something I wanted to hear. I hope this podcast reaches those that need it most, as well as serves as a collection of simply interesting stories. Listen wherever you get your podcasts. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at HerAMStory. Everyone has the story. Share yours with me. Email me at heramericanstory@gmail.com.
All right, we're back. We're diving into the triple threat for the WWE title. Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Seth Rollins. 22 minutes, 42 seconds. Here's how it went. Lesnar dominated the match early with multiple suplexes on both Cena and Rollins. Lesnar then applied the Kimura on Cena, but Rollins broke it up. Cena hit the AA on Lesnar, but Rollins threw Cena out of the ring to steal a pin attempt, but Lesnar kicked out at 1. Shocker. Lesnar caught Rollins and nailed the F5, but Cena broke up the pin. Cena hit 3 AAs on Lesnar because Lesnar's a inhuman monster, I guess. But Rollins broke up the pin. Rollins then hit a curb stomp on Lesnar, but Cena broke up that pin. Cena hit Lesnar with steel steps, and Rollins took out Lesnar with a diving elbow drop through the announce table. Here's honestly where I thought Lesnar was done. The doctors came out to check on him and eventually attempted to stretcher him out. Cena locked in the STF on Rollins, but J&J security interfered, resulting in Cena hitting an attitude adjustment on both Joey Mercury and Jamie Noble at the same time. It was a double AA. You remember J&J security?
Yes, I do. They were Seth Rollins' version of the Briscoe brothers.
Oh, man. Yeah. Or, well, you mean the Stooges, Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, they were something, man. And guess what? I'm bringing it back. I have Jack's figures of them.
Oh, the Stooges?
No, the J&J security guys.
Oh, okay.
Because I got an M&M 2-pack that it was like Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro, and then I have a Jamie Noble. So all Jack's figures, baby. Bringing that one back.
That's cool. That's impressive.
Cena then hit an AA on Rollins, and then Rollins curb stomped Cena, both for near falls. Lesnar later returned to the ring and threw Cena out. Rollins hit Lesnar twice with his Money in the Bank briefcase and positioned the briefcase under Lesnar's head. As Rollins attempted another curb stomp on Lesnar, Lesnar countered with an F5 on Rollins to retain the title.
Yep.
Inhuman monster, like I said. Oy vey. But it was a good match. Definitely match of the night. If you had to watch one match on this entire card, that is it.
Yes.
Overall, I mean, do you have any closing thoughts for that match?
Excellent match. Excellent way to build up Lesnar as a monster. I feel like 14 and 15, whether we like it or not, is kind of Lesnar's prime years in this kind of monster reign that he's had. Yeah.
Yeah, he was just starting in with the suplex bull crap.
Yeah. And it wasn't stale yet.
Yeah. At this point, it's like, dude, enough's enough. Can you, add something else to your repertoire, please? But I don't think we ever will. I think he's just going to come out, suplex F5, and leave.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that, by the way.
Well, the thing is, him and The Fiend are doing, like, the same gimmick.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
And I don't care. Like, I've seen it out of Brock. I'm seeing it out of The Fiend. I just don't care. At all. But, I don't know. They're over, I guess, so whatever. People are willing to drop $7,000 on that stupid Fiend belt.
Ooh.
It's hideous. Who's going to spend that kind of money on that?
People with a lot of money.
And a lot of stupid.
Yeah, probably.
But we're here, man. The Royal Rumble match. 30 men enter. 1 will exit the victor. 59 minutes, 33 seconds in its entirety. Dave Meltzer gave it 1 3/4 stars. This was definitely, in my opinion, one of the worst Rumbles in history. Just blah. It's
the worst or the best?
It was awful for many reasons. And I'll say this, 1995's Royal Rumble was just boring. So it's bad because it was boring, I guess. And then you had people like freaking Dick Murdoch popping up in there. I'm like, whoa, where the hell did you come from? But this one, now in the archives, by the way, go check that one out. But this, man, 20 years or 10 years later, right? Yeah, 20 years. 20 years later, this thing. The Miz and R-Truth started the match out as numbers 1 and 2, respectively. Bubba Ray Dudley made his return to WWE, entering at number 3. I completely forgot about that until he walked out. I was like, oh yeah, Bully Ray was here. He eliminated The Miz and R-Truth. Bray Wyatt would then enter the match at number 5 and would soon begin a string of eliminations one by one, including the Boogeyman, who was a surprise entrant at number 7. I forgot the Boogeyman was in this match, too.
I remember. The Boogeyman! I'm coming to get you!
I have a Jack's figure of him, too.
Does he have the worms?
Oh, thank God, no. But he came with a big clock you can pretend to smash over his head.
Oh, that's cool. That's not bad.
They actually made a Mattel figure of him, too, for any you figure nerds out there. But I have the Jax one. During this string of eliminations, by the way, by Bray Wyatt, Curtis Axel, who he was supposed to enter at number 6, but he was attacked by Eric Rowan, who took his place. And
this was so stupid.
Yeah. Why is this, like, this has become like a common thing in the Rumble ever since 2015. Like, it seems like almost every year there's one person that's supposed to enter, but they get attacked and somebody takes their spot. It's stupid.
Yeah, they were making a joke I remember they were making a joke a long time about this year that, hey, Curtis Axel never got in the ring, so he never got eliminated, so therefore he's still in the Rumble.
Yep. Hashtag Axelmania running wild. But Bray Wyatt was his elimination string ended once Daniel Bryan entered the match at number 10. Diamond Dallas Page was a surprise entrant at 14, hitting the Diamond Cutter on various wrestlers before being eliminated by the number 15 entrant, U.S. champion Rusev, who was looking fairly husky at this point.
Yes. I will say that the pop that Daniel Bryan got when he got in this match was incredible.
Otherworldly. He was huge.
The only other pop that was just as big was his exit.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
People were so pissed off. Oh.
Yep. Bray Wyatt eliminated Daniel Bryan without pomp and circumstance. He was just gone.
And people let them know they were unhappy with these results.
Whew. Well, I'm going to get into a little later some of the visceral crowd reaction. Towards the end of the match, Kane entered at number 24 and Big Show at number 29. Oy, that was a turd. They teamed up to go on a string of eliminations. The final 4 consisted of Roman Reigns, Big Show, Kane, and Rusev.
That is a horrible final 4.
Yeah, you think it's like lesser of two evils here. Or 4 evils, I guess. It's like, who do you want to main event freaking WrestleMania? Rusev, by the way, was outside of the ring at this time, having gone under the bottom rope. So it's one of them, like, that's another thing they abuse, where it's like, oh wait, there's one left. Like, do you remember that? I can't remember what year it was. I want to say 2011. That they had the 40-man Royal Rumble first time and last time they ever did it. Do you remember that? Yeah, it was Alberto Del Rio won it. And he won, or we thought he won. And everybody's like, crap, boo. And then Santino Marella gets in the ring because he went under the bottom rope. And they're like, oh my God, Santino. And then he gets dumped. I'm like, did you idiots? I mean, like, I got into it because I'm a mark, but I was just like, dude, come on, he's not going to frickin' beat Alberto and go to WrestleMania. Like, God, that'd be embarrassing. But, yeah, that's fond memories, man. Reigns eliminated both Kane and Big Show. However, they both re-entered the ring and began a double-team assault on Roman. The Rock then emerged and hit a rock bottom on Big Show and a people's elbow on Kane. Rusev re-entered the ring finally and then got speared by Reigns. Reigns then eliminated Rusev to win the match. And the boos rained down.
Oh, we skipped over a major part of that. The boos were not just raining down from there. The boos were raining down all through the match. Like when Dolph Ziggler got eliminated, they booed. When Dean Ambrose got eliminated, they booed. When they seen that Final Four and how trash that Final Four was, they really booed. Like, I can't think of a Royal Rumble that had a worse Final Four.
Oh, gosh. Yeah,
it's not even that the 4 choices were bad. It's just that the 4 choices were so predictable who was going to win.
This that world title triple threat was the only thing that saved this entire event from being complete garbage. This was a terrible Royal Rumble show. But after the match, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon showed up to come out, and they kind of showed how unhappy they were with the results of Reigns winning. And Roman celebrated with The Rock. The Rock looked like, what am I doing here? I'm ruining myself. Yes. And the Philly crowd just let them have it.
It was bad.
You know it's bad when The Rock is getting booed out of the building. That doesn't happen.
Yeah, it was really bad because, and if you think about it, what makes it even more worse is the fact that around that time last year, people wanted Roman Reigns to win.
Yeah, I mean,
that was I think if I'm correct, 2014 was the year when Cena won, right?
2014.
Or was it 2013?
2014 was Batista. Yeah.
2013. When the year when Cena won and Roman Reigns and him had that face-off.
I want to say they wanted Roman to win in 2014 when Batista won.
Is that the year where everybody was cheering for Roman Reigns?
It might have been.
I think that you might be right. But I remember people were cheering for Roman Reigns and people wanted him to win the Royal Rumble that year. And he didn't want it. And everything just changed and people just turned on Roman Reigns to a very, very, very high visceral degree, to the point where people were like nasty to the man, like I don't think I've ever seen something like this happen to it in a way where it was handled so badly. Like, yeah, people turned on Cena, but Cena kind of leaned into it and made it his thing.
Yeah. It was Roman Reigns, or it was 2014, by the way, because Batista won with 4 eliminations, and his last elimination was Roman Reigns.
Okay, that's what it was.
So they were the final 2. Roman, I'm trying to see here. I think this has to be the year where, he set the Royal Rumble record for 12 eliminations, beating Kane's previous 11 eliminations. And he still holds that record, by the way. Nobody's beaten it. God, man, it was rough to see. And I thought, my, how things have changed within a year. But the thing is, people have said, they're like, I don't think it would have been quite as visceral and venomous towards Roman Reigns if WWE would have done it better. Like, don't put Daniel Bryan, who they really loved, out there early in the match and have him get punked out.
Yeah.
That just and then you're bringing out the Authority members who nobody gives a crap about to end the match with Roman. And I think they were hoping to sprinkle a little rock dust on him. If people don't know what I'm referring to, Bruce Pritchard always talks about, like, when they wanted to endorse a new babyface, have Hulk Hogan come out and sprinkle a little Hulk dust on him. It's like, well, I endorse this guy, so cheer for him. So I think they were trying to do that with The Rock, especially because they are family. But it didn't work. They booed The Rock, man. That's
rarity.
That never happens. Ever. But the very negative reaction of the fans attending the event at Philadelphia towards the Royal Rumble match and its winner was described as being even worse than the 2014 event. And if people don't remember, 2014 Royal Rumble was the last time we saw CM Punk. He quit the next night on Raw, and everything went down badly after that. He did the whole thing where he told Triple H, I don't need to face you at WrestleMania, you need to face me. And yeah, just a lot of stuff there. And he made his feelings known publicly, which just made the groundswell for Daniel Bryan even more. People didn't want Batista to win. They weren't getting into, I mean, they cheered for Batista when he first came back, but they weren't really buying into him anymore. They were tired of it.
He took the spot that people wanted Daniel Bryan to have.
Yeah, it was bad timing, and they were kind of tired of Batista's act. And at this point, he was even more limited than he was before, and he's trying to act like an MMA fighter. It's like, dude, he was doing like Batista cross with Brock Lesnar, but he was doing it poorly. And people didn't want to see Batista versus Randy Orton in the main event of WrestleMania 30. That's not what anybody cared about at the time. So they just jackhammered Daniel Bryan in there. And it went well, I guess, but yeah, this one sounded even worse, man. And oddly enough, both Rumbles involved Roman Reigns in the last one. When Daniel Bryan was eliminated in the first half of the match, the crowd repeatedly chanted his name for the second half of the match while booing other wrestlers making their entrances to the match.
Oh, they did more. They chanted bullshit.
Yep.
Most of the match.
Yep.
And they chanted CM Punk.
They chanted for that. They was this the one? I forget. Was this the one where Rey Mysterio was the last like entrant 30, or am I thinking of? I'm thinking of another year, aren't I?
This year.
Yeah, it was a recent year where it was like Rey Mysterio and Roman Reigns were like the last two, and everybody was like booed the crap out of them.
Yes, I remember that year as well. That year was also delightfully funny.
Oh God, yeah, it was brutal. But yeah, so the crowd grew even more unhappy when Dolph Ziggler and Dean Ambrose were eliminated. They started chanting for the heels, or like they were cheering for Rusev, who was a major anti-American heel at the time.
Yes, they were cheering for the anti-American.
This was nuts. And then shortly after the event, hashtag cancel WWE Network became the top Twitter trend worldwide, while PWInsider.com reported that the WWE Network online cancellation page had crashed, and that some subscribers who had called WWE to cancel their subscription were told to call back the next day, as there were too many people attempting to manually cancel their subscription.
Yeah,
Damn.
This was the thing, and I remember WWE Network took a hit for that, man. They took a bad hit. This was when they were trying to still build it up, because it's kind of big now.
Yeah.
But back then, it wasn't nowhere near as big and reputable as it is now. And
no, it was less than a year old.
Yeah.
It's like we said, it launched at WrestleMania 30. This was going into 31. This was less than a year old at this point. So they were still trying to get their sea legs under them with this network. The day after the Royal Rumble, Dave Meltzer reported that on Wrestling Observer Radio that Vince McMahon and the WWE had expected that Roman Reigns' victory would receive some backlash, but not to the level that they had experienced. And despite this, WWE would not add Daniel Bryan to the main event at WrestleMania 31, since Vince felt that, quote, it would be repeat and gone to the well one too often. 4 days after the Royal Rumble, WWE announced a new promotion on the network where new subscribers could watch for free for the month of February.
And that's something they still do to this day, if I'm correct.
I think so. Which, I mean, it's smart. So I don't know if it was because of that. It probably was, but they won't admit it. It was probably because of that whole hashtag cancel WWE Network thing. I want to say after Hell in a Cell this year, they probably took a hit too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That
was a train wreck. That
show reeked. It was horrible. It was historically bad. And then TLC was pretty brutal as well. WWE, I forgot about this detail, by the way. WWE had to postpone the post-Rumble Raw from Hartford, Connecticut, due to the January 2015 nor'easter, making the first time WWE had to cancel a scheduled Raw taping since the Chris Benoit double murder-suicide, and the first time that Raw had to be moved to another city since 2009. That's some dubious company to be in there with. That's awful.
An actual murder.
Yeah. A murder and then a terrible storm. Damn. WWE also canceled its scheduled SmackDown taping from Boston the following night. WWE decided to have Raw come from WWE headquarters in nearby Stamford, Connecticut instead, announcing that it would hold a live SmackDown on Thursday from Hartford, honoring tickets that would be used for Raw, while allowing fans in Boston to either exchange their tickets for an upcoming house show on June 27th or obtain a full refund. This was a bad time for WWE.
Yeah, really bad.
I forget. WrestleMania 31, that was Reigns and who? That's right. That's when Rollins cashed in on Brock.
Yeah.
That's right.
WrestleMania 31 went banana.
WrestleMania 31 was okay. It definitely wasn't bad. It had really low moments, like Sting jobbing out to Triple H for no good reason, standing up after taking a sledgehammer to the head and then shaking hands with Triple H. And then it had some high points like the Seth Rollins thing. So
Seth Rollins thing was definitely cool.
It was. But yeah, this was a terrible Royal Rumble that you had us review here, man. I hate you for that. But that's kind of our shtick. I mean, we have reviewed good shows, but it's always funnier to review the terrible wrestle crap throughout history. You have more fun with it sometimes.
And this is one of them. This was atrocious.
Yeah, it was bad. For all of you out there who want some more crap, and why wouldn't you? Go back and listen to our 1995 reviews now in the archives. But yeah, that kind of wraps it up for this show. I will say go to youtube.com/podcast wrestling society. Delvin was gracious enough to come on early, and before we actually recorded the podcast, we recorded some extra YouTube content. Go check that out. We talk about Tessa Blanchard and Impact. We talk about the comings and goings of people and their contracts right now, the unfortunate passing of La Parka. We went off on a bunch of tangents about a bunch of stuff. So definitely go check that out. Good content. And subscribe. And Delvin, I think your podcast is anywhere you could possibly find podcasts, correct?
That is correct. You can find the Delvin Cox Experience anywhere you find podcasts at, and you can find the PlayStation Experience anywhere you find podcasts at. If you like video games, check out the PlayStation Experience. If you like good interviews, like a Joe Rogan style podcast, check out the Delvin Cox Experience. Bam, there you go.
Oh yeah, and follow him on social media. He's mostly on Twitter, but I mean he's got other stuff too at Delvin_Cox. He's an entertaining follow. And you can always, check out Random Ramblings with Rob, who is trying to get hashtag Punch Delvin's face trending.
That is very true.
I don't know what his obsession is with punching you in the face, but
I don't either.
Whatever. I said, how about hashtag tongue punch Delvin's fart box? And he was like, no. I thought I'd spice it up a little bit, but whatever. Either way, thanks for hopping on here and hanging out with me so long here again today, man.
No problem, brother.
And next week, it is solidified. I know I teased Royal Rumble 97, but next week, unless something out of the blue crazy happens, we are going to be covering Royal Rumble 1997. Greg is going to be back on the show. So there's that. We will be bringing that to you next week. That's the one from the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. And we will come at you with all that next week. Peace out.
Peace out.